morning to all on frequency. This is Keith as ZS6 Hotel India, who's manning the station ZS6 STN this morning for the club bulletin of the Sandton Amateur Radio Club. And a good welcome to everybody on frequency that is out there listening this morning. We will also be going through the South African Radio League news for Sunday, 21 July 2024. And a big thank you to all the contributors and as well as the relays that are ongoing this morning. You can find us on 145700 repeater and the associated Echolink nodes and All-Star nodes, as well as on 7.115 megahertz on the 40-meter band. Good morning and welcome to the weekly news bulletin of the South African Radio League, read by Keith, the ZS6HI from Johannesburg, Fourways. The audio bulletins can be downloaded from the League website at www.sarl.org.za, while the text bulletins can be downloaded from sarlnewsbulletin.wordpress.com. In the news today, the ZS2 QSO party this afternoon, contest news, and club news. And we will also have a short tech talk after the bulletin this morning. Stay tuned for more information on these and other interesting news items. We begin this bulletin with the news of a silent key. It was with deep regret that we must announce that the key of John De Beer, ZS3 Juliet Delta Bravo, became silent. Our condolences go out to his family and friends. You are listening to a news bulletin of the South African Radio League. The ZS2 QSO party this afternoon. The Port Elizabeth Amateur Radio Society invites you to take part in the ZS2 QSO party to promote contacts between radio amateurs in the Eastern Cape and radio amateurs in Southern African countries. The aim for stations outside ZS2 is to work as many ZS2 stations as possible. The contest runs from 1400 to 1500 UTC this afternoon. The contest involves phone and CW activity on the 40-meter band. The exchange is a RS or RST report and your provincial or country abbreviation. Logs in ADIF, Cabrillo or MSXL format must be submitted by Friday, 26th July 2024 and sent by email to contest@peham.co.za. Find the rules of the ZS2 QSO party on page 49 of the 2024 contest manual or blue book. AMSAT SA Space Symposium. The AMSAT SA Space Symposium 2024 will be an online event on Saturday the 14th of September. This is the first call for papers to be considered for presentation at the event. The theme of the event is Space, the frontier towards a rewarding technology pastime. Prospective authors are invited to submit a short summary of their proposed paper in MS Word format by 31 July 2024 to admin@amsatsa.org.za. Presentations are typically 20 to 30 minutes in length, followed by 10 minutes of Q&A. Participation in the event is free, but registration is required. Registration will open on 1 July. That's a little bit historical, with details posted on www.amsatsa.org.za. So if you have an interesting article that you would like to submit and present in the theme Space, the frontier towards a rewarding technology pastime, please do prepare your paper and get that through to amsatsa.org.za. I know they've had some very, very interesting papers in the past. Moving on to contest news. On behalf of the contest working group, the SARL news team invites you to participate in the SARL Saturday 40-meter club contest and the SARL HF phone contest. The third leg of the SARL 40-meter Saturday club contest will run from 1400 to 1500 UTC on Saturday, 27 July, with CW, phone and RTTY activity. The exchange is your name, the name or abbreviation of your club, and your 4-character grid square, example, Kilo Golf 01. You score 2 points for every phone QSO, 4 points for every CW QSO, and 5 points for every RTTY QSO. That sounds like an incentive to do a few RTTY QSOs. Then 2 points for the first QSO with every grid square, and 1 point for each club that you have worked. Submit your log by midnight on Thursday, 21:59 UTC, on Thursday, 1 August, by email to contest@sarl.org.za. Turn to page 33 of the 2024 contest manual for the rules of the 40-meter club contest. You are listening to a news bulletin of the South African Radio League. The first contest in the SARL's Premier Contest Series, the SARL HF Phone Contest, is on the air from 1400 to 1700 UTC on Sunday, 4 August, with activity on the 20, 40 and 80 meter bands. You can take part as a single operator, single radio, single band, single operator, single radio or band, or a multi-operator, single band or multi-operator or band. The exchange is an RS report and a consecutive serial number starting at 001. Each QSO counts 1 point and you score 2 points for each area on each band. There are 9 call areas. You score 2 points for each station contacted on all 3 bands. Submit your log sheet by 21:59 UTC on Friday, 9 August by email to contest@sarl.org.za. You'll find all the details of the HF phone contest on page 22 of the SARL 2024 contest manual. Moving on to club news. Have you diarized the Wednesday evening, 31 July, for the Sandton Club's Power Hour Tech Talk at 1900 CAT? If not, please do so now, as you do not want to miss this conversation. This month, the Tech Talk will be all about 3D printing, the current state of 3D printing, where or how do you start, what should you be aware of, and all the interesting and extremely helpful bits of information that only an expert can give to us hobbyists. Our guest speaker will be Pietro Rees, an entrepreneur specializing in 3D printing and the founder of several related businesses. This is a must-attend for anyone who has or has ever considered getting involved in 3D printing or has ever needed something to be printed. The Zoom ID for those with your pens ready is 841-9085-5481, and the passcode is 250942. Or alternatively, visit the SAR events page or the various club Facebook pages for all the details. The talk is open to everyone, so please spread the word and join us on Wednesday, 31 July at 1900 CAT on Zoom for an electrifying conversation on 3D printing. This one's obviously hosted by the Sandton Amateur Radio Club, and we've really got a great speaker this time around, Pietro Rees. We always have great speakers, but Pietro Rees is an entrepreneur. She's been doing 3D printing for many, many, many years in the commercial sector and has started many, many businesses relating to 3D printing. So it's certainly going to be a great conversation. Please do join us on Wednesday, 31 July. Then the SARL is putting out a request to all clubs to let SARL News know about your club activities, what the club is doing, when are your meetings, etc., etc., etc. Please advertise your club through the SARL News. Well, the Sandton Club certainly tries to keep the SARL News busy. We do try and put out some of our major activities on the SARL News, and that hopefully helps members and others who are going to participate. Let's move on to the propagation report. Hannes Kutsia, ZS6 PZP, relates that the solar activity is expected to be at low to moderate levels. There are currently 19 sunspot regions with simple to complex magnetic configurations visible. There is also a high probability for C-class and low to moderate probability for M-class solar flares. If you want to do your own frequency predictions, the effective sunspot number for the week will be around 145. The 10 to 30 meter bands may provide some good DX fun, especially in the late afternoon and early evening. Please visit the website spaceweather.sansa.org.za for further information. At this point, we will take a break from the SARL news and we'll move on to the Santon Amateur Radio Club news. So let me give you a view on some of the latest activities on the Santon Amateur Radio Club. And remember that towards the end of the conversation this morning, we will have a swap shop where you can advertise any products that you have that you want to sell, or if you are looking for something, or you're trying to acquire something that somebody might have in their shack, then just announce it on air, and you can then try and get hold of the person to procure that item. Moving on to Santon Club news. So yesterday, the QRP contest took place. I certainly hope that you participated in the QRP contest, and I did hear a number of Santonites on the call yesterday. I think Matthew, ZS6MDV, was out there, ZS6JGP Justin, Richard, ZR6 Delta Echo. I did hear Kevin, ZS6KB. I know that Gerrit, ZS6GVH, and Keith, ZS6HI, were on frequency. I did hear Mark, ZS6MDX. Oh, there's quite a number of stations that were on air, so I'm not going to go through them all. If I didn't call out your station, my apologies. Maybe I didn't make a QSO with you. And the first hour was on the 40-meter band, and it was going slowly. You could contact every minute or so, or every couple of minutes or so. So it wasn't doing too bad. Then we switched for the second hour to the 20-meter band, and it seemed to be very quiet. But towards the latter half of the second hour, the Cape Town stations started rolling in on 20 meters. So certainly the team that I was in managed to get about 5 contacts with Cape Town stations, which is pretty awesome. Remember that this contest is all about QRP, and people are running 10 watts on SSB. So well done to all those QRP contesters. To get 1,000 kilometers on 10 watts SSB is pretty awesome. And I know that you could also use CW, FT8, and JS8. When people submit their logs, we'll be able to give you the statistics on all of those modes and what the numbers were from all of those modes. So please do remember to submit your QRP contest logbooks by end of day Friday this coming week. So the submissions must be Friday this coming week. Don't forget. The next item on Santon Club News is next weekend, the Saturday, the 27th, is the Triangulation Challenge, which starts at 1300 in the afternoon. That's South African Standard Time. So at 1300, please have taken up your positions around the operating zone, and that has been put out on the WhatsApp group and on the Facebook channel. And if there are more stations that are around the operating zone, the easier it will be to triangulate the foxes. So at 1300, have taken up your positions, have your Yagis or your handy talkies out, and let's try and triangulate the fox's position. We will be trying to coordinate on 145700 repeater, but you can do dual watch on the UHF repeater as well. So that'll be on 438800. The UHF repeater has got a 4-stack dipole on it, and so it has a little bit of a greater range than the VHF repeater. So maybe you should monitor both those frequencies, and let's try and find the foxes. Both foxes will be transmitting simultaneously from each subsequent location. And remember that the foxes are on the frequencies of 144, I've forgotten now, 525, 144, 525 megahertz, and the second fox on 432, 400 megahertz, 432.400 megahertz. So do diarise the triangulation challenge on Saturday, this coming Saturday afternoon on the 27th. The triangulation challenge will be followed by a dinner social, and we will get to Matthew's house by 1500 South African Standard Time. So we will meet up at Matthew's house, where we will complete our triangulation challenge by drawing our bearings on a map, and to see that we managed to pinpoint the multiple locations where the fox was operating from. So see the WhatsApp group for details, and the Facebook group for details on that. At the same time, in that afternoon, on Saturday the 27th, is the 40-meter club contest, which starts at 1600 South African time in the afternoon. And obviously, being a club contest, we would like as many Santonites as possible to participate in the 40-meter club contest at 1600. For those that are doing the triangulation challenge and visiting Matthew for the dinner social, we will operate the 40-meter club contest from his QTH and his shack. If you're not coming through for the club social, please do get on the air at 1600 on the 40-meter club contest, and remember to submit your logs thereafter so that the club can get those points. We really do want to beat the West Rand Club. We always want to beat the West Rand Club. If you are going to come through for the triangulation and the dinner social, please do RSVP. You all sent an Outlook invitation, or you can let us know on the WhatsApp group, and we will put you down so that we know how many numbers are coming through, because the dinner social we need to cater for. So please do RSVP for the triangulation challenge and the dinner social. Then on Wednesday, the 31st of July, you heard it in part of the bulletin, but it's the Power Hour Tech Talk on 3D printing that will take place at 1900 South African time in the evening. So Power Hour Tech Talk on Wednesday, 31 July at 1900, and as mentioned, that will be with Petra, who's a 3D printing guru and social entrepreneur. Then the RAE. Samir and the lecturers have been extremely busy with the RAE students, and as mentioned last week, there are around 17 students that have registered for the RAE and are going through the training this time. So a big thank you to Samir and all the lecturers that are giving of their time to coordinate and give the lectures to the upcoming amateurs. And I was privileged enough to be able to attend a session with Richard ZR6 Delta Echo on Thursday, and Richard took everyone through making QSOs, and the students, some of them initially started off a little bit shaky, but by the end of the session they were making QSOs online on the virtual classroom. So well done, Richard, and thank you to Samir and all the lecturers for that one. Then we have sent out a Google web form on the WhatsApp group. We just request that everyone just complete that Google web form. It will allow us to update our birthday list and make sure that we've got all your latest email address on record so that we don't make mistakes when we are doing this. To give you an idea of our birthdays, I'd like to now say congratulations to Theo Bressler. Theo had his birthday on the 19th of July. Peter Elstob, a long-standing member of the Sandton Amateur Radio Club, he had his birthday yesterday on the 20th of July. Reno Powell on the 24th is scheduled for the 24th of July, and then I'll go through to Timo on the 28th of July. That's Timo van der Merwe. He's also one of our lecturers, and Henry Stefan on the 31st of July. So those are the birthdays, the rest of the birthdays for this month. We will announce some of those again next week, but thank you and congratulations to all of you who are having birthdays for the rest of July. Coming back to the upcoming events, there is also the 80-meter club contest in August. So that 80-meter club contest, please guys do also diarise that so that we can be on air for the 80-meter club contest. And you heard on the news about the SARL HF contests, and the ZS2 contest this afternoon. That's enough for club news for now. So let's take a break, and then we will go over to the Tech Talk. Einstein telescope could launch a new era in astronomy. So this is an article from phys.org, and it's all about the Einstein telescope. So let's read up, what is this all about? The Einstein telescope is going to be built around 200 feet, 50 meters underground. At this point, it's still just a plan, but a new telescope could soon be measuring gravitational waves. Gravitational waves are something like the sound waves of the universe. They are created, for example, when black holes or neutron stars collide. The future gravitational wave detector, the Einstein telescope, will use the latest laser technology to better understand these waves, and thus our universe. One possible location for the construction of this telescope is the border triangle of Germany, Belgium, and Netherlands. How the universe makes gold. The summer of 2017 was an extremely exciting day for astronomers. On August 2017, three gravitational wave detectors registered a new signal. Hundreds of telescopes around the world were immediately pointed at the suspected point of origin, and a luminous celestial body was indeed seen there. For the first time, the collision of two neutron stars was detected, both optically and as a gravitational wave. Neutron stars are something very special in the universe. They are burnt-out stars that no longer emit any visible radiation. They weigh slightly more than our sun, but squeeze their mass into a sphere less than 20 kilometers in diameter. The force of their collision is so great that atomic nuclei are torn apart. Gigantic amounts of matter is ejected, and heavy atoms such as gold can be formed. Compared to the mass of the neutron stars, it's not a lot of gold that is created, just a few lunar masses, explains Professor Achim Stahl, an astrophysicist from Aachen University, with a grin. But researchers are pretty sure that most of the gold in the universe was created in such gigantic explosions. Therefore, the golden ring we wear on our finger has already experienced galactic history. Gravitational wave detectors open a new chapter in astronomy. Thanks to gravitational wave detectors, we already know more about the collisions of neutron stars. By galactic standards, these are very fast processes. In the past, if we were very lucky, we could register gamma ray bursts which lasted less than a second. When black holes collide, the signal that can be measured with current gravitational wave detectors is very short. The signal of the first gravitational wave, measured in 2015, was just over 0.2 seconds long. Such waves are created when ultra-heavy objects orbit each other in the universe and then collide. The signal detected in summer 2017 was 100 seconds long, so it was immediately clear that this must be something new. Shortly after the gravitational signal stopped, the gamma ray burst was recorded. Later, the afterglow of the explosion was observed in various wavelength ranges, and traces of heavy elements such as gold and platinum were detected. The event was identified as a collision of two neutron stars. The simultaneous observation of gravitational waves and electromagnetic signals opened a new chapter in observational astronomy. In fact, the optical signal was decisive in finding the star in the sky, explains the astrophysicist. Our ears to the universe. For centuries, astronomy was limited to observations of visible radiation. With a better understanding of electromagnetic spectrum, which we need to have a good understanding of, don't we? Astronomers added many new observation methods, detecting radio waves and significantly expanding mankind's knowledge through calculations and simulations. When Albert Einstein postulated his general theory of relativity 100 years ago, he also came up with the idea that there could be waves that have nothing to do with the electromagnetic spectrum. Similar to a sound wave, they were supposed to make a test specimen at a great distance wobble a little. Large accelerated masses should send such waves through space. On Earth, however, the wobble caused by gravitational waves is so weak that the movement is much smaller than the diameter of an atom. Nonetheless, it has now become possible to measure gravitational waves. This is a new era for astronomers. This has been made possible by so-called laser interferometers. They consist of two arms with mirrors at the ends. A laser beam enters the interferometer and is split at a beam splitter in the middle. It travels to the end mirrors in the two arms and back to the beam splitter. If the position of the mirror at the end of an arm changes, the transit time of the respective laser beam varies by a tiny amount. This amount can be measured by comparing the laser beam from the affected mirror with a laser beam from the other interferometer arm where the mirror has not been moved. The precision of this measurement in the current gravitational wave detectors is always astonishing, even for physicists. We measure down to an accuracy of less than 1/2000th of a proton diameter, explains the professor. It's ironic that we need precision on the scale of the smallest particles known to us to detect the biggest events in the universe, the merging of black holes. The first two attempts to measure gravitational waves were made back in the 1960s. However, it is only the current second generation of laser measuring devices that can achieve this extreme accuracy and have now detected around 100 collisions of black holes or neutron stars. This brings us to the Einstein telescope. The professor, being a member of the German Einstein telescope community, is currently working on the next generation of gravitational wave detectors. Measuring devices of this third generation should be 10 times more sensitive than those currently in use. The planned gravitational wave observatory has been named the Einstein telescope, after the founder of general theory of relativity. We want to use it to examine an area that is 1,000 times larger than in what is possible today in the universe for gravitational waves. And we should then find considerably more sources for which the current instruments are not sensitive enough, explains the astrophysicist. This also applies to heavier objects that emit gravitational waves at lower frequencies. The Einstein telescope will consist of 3 nested detectors. Each of these detectors will have 2 laser interferometers with 10-kilometer long arms. A little larger than something we can put in our back garden. In order to shield as much interference as possible, the observatory shall be built 250 meters below ground level. However, the scientists are already thinking much further ahead. The Einstein telescope will work together with a new innovative generation of observatories in the electromagnetic spectrum, ranging from radio through to gamma rays. We call this multi-messenger astronomy, says the professor. In addition to the ears for the gravitational waves, we will also have eyes that detect very different signals. Together, these will provide a live transmission of cosmic events that no one has ever seen before. Until now, you could watch the sky at random and hope for a brief flash. In the future, the gravitational wave detectors will run continuously and listen when a signal appears. If several such detectors capture the signal, its region of origin can be calculated and other optical telescopes aligned to it. As with the neutron star collision in summer 2017, several systematic measurements will then be possible. Scientists hope to gain many new insights from this, for example, about the early universe or about collisions in which all elements heavier than iron are formed. So this article goes on for quite a bit to explain some of the detectors in Europe and around the world, and around some of the studies that are being conducted. And it is quite interesting to understand all around this Einstein telescope and what they are trying to achieve with gravitational wave measurements. I hope you have found this article of interest. So then I will just end the broadcast with the diary of upcoming events. So today, this afternoon, is the ZS2 QSO party. On 25 July, which is this coming Friday, it's the closing date for the QRP logs. And on the 26th of July, on Saturday, it's the closing date for the 25 July is Thursday. Just having a look at that, but it's on Friday that you must get your logbooks in for the QRP contest, and 26th July for the ZS2 logs. 27th of July, as we've mentioned, is the SARL Saturday 40-meter club contest and our triangulation challenge and dinner social. On 27th and 28th July is the RSGB IOTA Islands on the Air contest, so you might want to get a few islands into your logbook. 31 July is the Santon Power Hour Tech Talk, and the closing date for Space Symposium paper proposals. On the 1st of August is the closing date for the 40-meter club logs. On the 4th of August is the SARL HF phone contest. And to reiterate the main news story, the Port Elizabeth Amateur Radio Society invites you to participate in the ZS2 QSO party this afternoon at 1600 South African Standard Time to 1700 South African Standard Time. All the rules are available in page 49 of the contest manual. This concludes our bulletin for this morning. This morning you have listened to the SRL News Bulletin written by Hannes Enslin, ZS6JDE, proofread by Dave Rees, ZS1 Delta Fox Romeo, and read by Keith, ZS6 Hotel India, on behalf of the Santon Amateur Radio Club as ZS6STN. From the news team this week, best wishes for the week ahead, and 7-3. I now relinquish all frequencies for general use.